Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristin, and in today's video, I will be showing you all the books that I got for Christmas. Listen, I know that Christmas was like a week ago at this point, and everybody has already put out their Christmas book haul videos and whatnot. But you know what? That's what you sign up for when you subscribe to this channel. Hey, I'm a busy person and I'm lazy, so here we are. At least this video is coming up, and I'm still very excited about all the books that I got for Christmas and wanted to share it with y'all. So we're gonna hop right on into the books that I received, and similar to my last book haul, my birthday book haul, which I will leave linked in the description box if you haven't checked that one out yet, I have separated the books into separate piles: books that I got from my friends, books that I got from my family, and I even bought myself a book this time. But first, I'm gonna need y'all to get into this chair right here. This really cozy, comfortable, new reading chair that my brother of mine bought me for Christmas. It's so comfortable. I just can't wait to do all the reading in this. I will leave this chair also linked down below in the description box if you want to check it out and buy yourself a nice, cozy reading chair as well. Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about is from the one and only Kristin, and that is The Chain by Adrienne McKenty. I feel like for this one, I just need to read the back of the book because it just sets the vibes and the atmosphere of what this book is going to be. You just dropped off your child at the bus stop. A panicked stranger calls your phone. Your child has been kidnapped. The stranger then explains that their child has also been kidnapped by a completely different stranger. The only way to get your child back is to kidnap another child. You are now part of the chain. Kristin told me that she was pretty sure I would guess what book she was going to get me for Christmas. And I was right. I assumed she was going to send me this book because I remember when she first started talking about it and she was explaining what this book was about. I was like, whoa, that sounds really interesting. Like, I need that book and I need it now. I automatically added it to my wish list and now I have it. And her message says, "Merry Chaotic Christmas, Kristin. I told you about this book, so it was only fitting for me to gift it to you. I hope you're ready for a real plot twist. I love you and happy holidays." A plot twist? I don't like guessing plot twists and plot points of books because I like to actually be shocked when reading it. And so I'm not even going to try to think about what this plot twist can be. Okay, let's get a little dark here. Sometimes I find myself trying to figure out what type of criminal I would be if I were to be a criminal. And I think I would be a child kidnapper. Maybe that was too much information, and if my FBI agent is watching, like, please know that this is a very hypothetical situation and I'm not out here kidnapping children. Like, I would never. All that to say is I'm really excited to read this book. You know what? Let's just move on to the next book because I'm getting a little too personal with y'all. Continuing on with sort of this thriller mystery type novel, the next book I received was from Mel, and she got me Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. And this is the first book in the Truly Devious trilogy. This story takes place at Ellingham Academy, which is a famous private school in Vermont. Ellingham's wife and daughter, so the founder of this school, his wife and daughter were kidnapped and they disappeared, and it has become one of the greatest unsolved crimes in history. Many years later, we are following Stevie Bell, who is a true crime lover. It is her first year at the academy, and she is determined to solve this case of what happened to Ellingham's wife and daughter. But soon, Truly Devious makes a surprise return, and we have another crime on our hands. Mel's note says, "Merry Christmas, my love. I have to push my agenda with this book because I loved it. It's such a well-crafted thriller for YA. I hope you love Stevie's journey as much as I did. I adore you, girl." From Mel. Thank you, Mel, so much for this book. I'm super excited because I know you love this trilogy, and now I get to read it very soon. It will definitely be read at the beginning of 2021. The next book I received for Christmas is a tome, but nevertheless, I'm super excited to read this one, and that is A Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. And Jaleesa got this book for me. Thank you so much, Jaleesa. Her note with this one says, "Merry Christmas, Crispy. Love you, girl. I hope you enjoy your gift. I'm so grateful for you." From Jaleesa. I'm gonna be honest and say that I have no idea what this book is about. I mean, look at this thickness, okay? I just love a good long book, a good adult fantasy novel. And I remember a few months ago, Monet from Life was Monet read this book and loved it and just would not stop talking about this book. So it's been on my wish list ever since, and I am so happy that I finally have this one. Next up in my pile of books that I received from my friends, we have Obsidio, the third book in the Illuminae files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and this of course is gifted to me by Sydney. Her note says, I had to pick this one. There wasn't an option. I loved it and I love you. Merry Christmas, love bug. I hope it's a great cozy season for you, from Sid. Thank you so much, Sydney. I love you so much. And I now have a completed series. She also bought me Gemina, which you can see in the background over there. So now, thanks to Sydney, I have a completed series, and I really love that for me. If you don't already know, the Illuminae Files is a young adult science fiction trilogy that is mixed media. The pages look something like this. They all look different on every page. And I really love that about this book and this series. It gives it some character and some personality, you know? And I definitely recommend listening to these on audiobook because it has a full cast of characters, it has sound effects, and you really just feel like you're out there in space, chilling on the spaceship with all these characters in these different books. I read Illuminae Files. That was my first book that I read in 2020. And so I definitely need to get to Gemina and Obsidio very soon because I thoroughly enjoyed Illuminae and have been wanting to pick up the next installments in the series for some time now. The last book that I have that I received from friends is from one of my very, very best friends, Chatera. And she bought me the 5th book in the Mortal Instruments series, City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. And I'm so pumped that I got this book because I am slowly trying to make my way through all of Cassandra Clare's books, and I'm starting with Mortal Instruments, and then I'll probably go to the Infernal Devices. I know there's like 50,000 ways that you can read all of the million books that Cassandra Clare has out right now, but I just don't like splitting books up in the middle of a series, so I think I'm just gonna read the series through and then move from there. So I'm starting with Mortal Instruments, and then, like I said, going to the Infernal Devices, and I don't know what I'm gonna read after that, but that's probably gonna be a while from now, so I'll figure it out. Currently, I'm on City of Glass, which is the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments series. 2021 will be dedicated to reading hopefully all of Cassandra Clare's, but we shall see. So that's all the books that I received from my wonderful and lovely friends who didn't have to buy me a book at all. And yet they're out here spending their hard-earned money on me, and I couldn't be more grateful to them for their love and support. But now I'm about to show y'all the books that I received from my parents and my grandparents, who, let me just tell you, hooked a sister up for Christmas this year, and I'm so thankful. I don't really be asking for much these days. I'm really happy that this hobby of reading and collecting books isn't too expensive. There's more expensive hobbies to have out there, you know, so I'm happy that this one is pretty affordable, you know. The first book that my parents got me for Christmas was Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This book was marketed as a Project Runway meets Mulan type book, and ever since I heard that, I knew absolutely nothing else about this book, and I immediately put it on my wish list and really couldn't ask for a better sounding book. In this book, we follow Maya, who has dreams of becoming one of the greatest dressmakers out there. One day, a royal messenger summons her father to court, but he is unable to travel, so Maya takes this as her opportunity to pose as her father's son and compete against 11 other tailors to become the imperial tailor. She knows her life is over if her secret is revealed because as a woman, you can't be a tailor, but this is her dream and she will take this risk. The second book that my parents gifted me for Christmas was These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which I am super excited about because this one was marketed as a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1926 Shanghai. And all I gotta say is we know how Romeo and Juliet, the play, the Shakespearean play, ends. And I hope that it's the same way in this book because I'm tired of people surviving. I need sadness. I'm not one to cry and be upset over a book. But I mean, if the main characters end up dying, I don't know, maybe I'll shed a tear or two. So this one will definitely be getting read very early in 2021, probably in January, because I need to know how this book ends. And I think it's going to be a series. So that's also interesting because if the main characters die, then how is there going to be a series? So maybe they're not going to die. I don't know, but I'm very interested to find out. I mean, maybe I should do a reading vlog on this one just because I'm so intrigued with this ending that I will need to capture all my reactions for you guys to see. So maybe a reading vlog of These Violent Delights will be coming your way very soon. Also, can we talk about how Chloe Gong is in college, just living her best successful life, already out here publishing books? That's just so amazing. And what a success to talk about your first book being published while you're still a current undergrad student. But yeah, this cover is extremely gorgeous. And this book involves rival gangs, and we all know that I enjoyed Jade City, which also involved rival gangs. So if it's anything like Jade City in terms of the gang relations, I'm here for all of it. The next book that my parents got me for Christmas is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini, who is also the author of the famous Aragon series. This is another very thick book. It doesn't look too bad as compared to Legacy of Ash, but this is also an over 800-page book. This is an adult science fiction book, which is perfect because I'm trying to read more science fiction next year and the years beyond. I'm trying to get more into this genre. And I'm not gonna lie, I read the synopsis of this book and I have no idea what it just told me. I don't know what this book is about, but this cover is gorgeous. And this is a very popular book that has been talked about on BookTube since its release earlier this year. So I added it to my wish list and I'm very happy that I got gifted this book for Christmas because now I can read it and figure out what this book is about. The fourth and final book that my parents so kindly gifted me for Christmas was The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I currently do not have this physical copy of the book because I let my sister borrow it. She's getting her hair braided and you gotta have the entertainment for those hours of sitting in a chair getting your hair braided. So I was like, sure, take the book, enjoy it. But this is a book that I and my sister are very excited to read because we've heard great things about it. It won the Goodreads Choice Awards for historical fiction this year, I think, so it should be a pretty good read. It follows two twin sisters who ran away from home when they were 16 years old, and now it's many years later. They're well into their adult life. One sister is living with her Black daughter in the same town that the sisters escaped when they were younger, and the second sister is living with her white husband. She passes herself for white and has not told her husband that she's Black. And I just think that alone is really interesting because how are you Black? Sure, you may pass for a white woman, but you're Black and you don't tell your husband like your identity. And so even though these two twin sisters are separated after all these years, their lives and their faith end up still being intertwined. So yeah, I just think that this one's gonna be a really interesting read. Okay, so switching gears to the books that my grandparents gifted me for Christmas. They also gifted me a bunch of books this year for Christmas. My Nana always likes to tell the story of when I was younger, maybe elementary school age. She asked me the question, Kristin, if you could have anything in the world, what would you want your Nana to get you for Christmas? And I said, books, with so much energy and just happiness. And I guess that still holds true today because when she asked me what I wanted this year for Christmas, I said books. And so books is what she got me. The first book I have here is another thick one, and that is The Inheritance Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. But hey, this is 3 books in one, but it's still a very thick bind up and it's a bit intimidating, I'm not gonna lie, because this is about a 1,500-page book. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you know that I read and loved the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin earlier this year. Only read the first book. I still have the other 2 in the trilogy to read, but I thoroughly enjoyed the first book. So now I want to read kind of all of N.K. Jemisin's books, her backlogs, anything new she releases, because wow, the plot twist in 5th season had me on the edge of my seat. I was blown. My mind was definitely blown. This is the next trilogy that I want to read by N.K. Jemisin, the Inheritance Trilogy. All it says on the back here are gods and mortals, power and love, death and revenge. She will unleash them all. And that's all I need to know about this book because gods, mortals, my favorites, power, love, of course, death, revenge. I love death. And I love revenge, like in books, not in real life, guys. I'm not crazy. These are the things that I love in books. And it just seems like this is gonna be a good one. And I've seen people read it and love this one as well. So I'm just very excited to dive into this. The next book I have here is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. And this one is marketed as Get Out meets gentrification, which automatically piqued my interest because gentrification is something that I'm very interested in, and kind of seeing it in person, it's just very wild to me how, for example, a neighborhood can be heavily populated by Black people, and in a few years there's all of a sudden all these other people living in the neighborhood, or just like different shops and stores all in there. And I have personally experienced gentrification on a like low-key level while I was in undergrad, so it's definitely something that I'm interested in. And then I also love the movie Get Out. I mean, who doesn't love that movie? So I'm interested to see how that plays a role in this book as well. And also, Alyssa Cole is mainly a romance author, and so this is her first thriller novel that she's written, so I'm excited to see how this plays out in terms of her writing style and what her interpretation of a thriller mystery novel is. The next book that my grandparents so kindly gifted me for Christmas is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. Just like several of these other books, I've had this one on my radar for a while now, and then Molly from Mind of Molly read it recently and loved it, and it just sparked my interest to want to get it sooner than later. And so this was definitely on my Christmas Christmas wish list. The back of the book says, "He murdered women in cold blood. He terrorized an entire city. He taunted those of us who hunted him down. But despite all these horrors, in the end, I cannot deny it. I was a girl who loved the Ripper." And these days when I hear the Ripper, I think of Stefan from the Vampire Diaries because I'm watching that for the first time currently. So is this about vampires? Like, I don't really know. Y'all don't take me seriously. I don't be knowing my history, but I know that this is based off of some real story. Basically, I've just seen it on BookTube a few times here and there throughout my year or so of watching BookTube. And then when Molly picked it up recently, I just had to have it. And so now I have it and I can read it next year. As if I hadn't been spoiled enough by my grandparents, they went ahead and also got me the entire Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, or Brandy Sandy as he's known on Mel's channel. But wow, all 3 of the books. And this is also a series that I know like nothing about, but it's very popular. I mean, Brandon Sanderson is one of the most famous authors I've seen here on BookTube. Everybody seems to like his books that they pick up. And so I don't know why I wouldn't like this series. I think it's an adult fantasy series following something, you know? I'm being such a great booktuber by saying I know nothing about these books that I'm having people buy for me. That's just great. But when I read the book, then I'll be able to know what the book is about and come on here and give y'all a full synopsis and a full review and all that kind of stuff throughout my wrap-ups and such in the year. So not to worry. Yes, here are the paperback versions of the Mistborn Trilogy. I don't want to open it yet. I just like how it looks in this trilogy box set. They're not super cute. They're not super ugly. And you know, that's what some of these books come down to. So yeah, that wraps up the books that my grandparents, my parents, and then my friends bought me. And so this last book that I'm going to talk about is the one book that I bought myself for Christmas because I knew I was going to get enough books, but I still wanted to buy myself one book to, you know, treat myself. Following on this thought of Brandon Sanderson and all the books that he has written and such, I bought myself Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, which is the 2nd book in the Skyward series. This is his young adult science fiction series. And you can see right there, I have Skyward, and then this is the sequel. I think this came out this year or 2019, but the paperback version came out this year, so I wanted to wait and be able to match my 2 copies. But basically, the first book, Skyward, followed Spencer, who dreams of becoming a space pilot, but unfortunately she has a reputation and nobody's trying to let her into pilot school because her dad was a pilot and betrayed his team in a big way. So they think that she's automatically gonna like betray her team. They don't even want to give her a chance to be a pilot. But then she eventually makes it into pilot school, determined to figure out what happened to her dad because she refuses to believe that he would betray his team. So the first book ends with us figuring out what happened with her father. So that's what we're gonna pick up here in Starsight. So that wraps up all the books that I received for Christmas. I am so happy. My heart is so full. I feel like I say this in like every video these days, but creating this BookTube channel was one of the best things that I decided to do in 2020, despite the overall year we had. I've met some amazing people. I've been able to connect with y'all, and I'm having the best reading year that I've had ever in my life, reading close to 60 books this year, a goal that I hope to surpass next year as well. So thank you always for your support. 2021 is also looking like it's going to be a great reading year. I'm happy to end 2020 with a bunch of wonderful books to look forward to going into the new year. And honestly, I don't really need to be buying that many books in 2021 because I have these books I need to read. I have books still from my birthday book haul that I've yet to read, and I just need to take a chill pill and relax in my chair and read the books that I'm receiving and buying so that I can open my mind and open my wallet for some more books. But you know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what 2021 brings, what books come, and just how I'm feeling overall. Buying books is an impulse, so I'm very impulsive when it comes to buying books. But that's all from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big like, comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and make sure you turn your notification bell on so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. If you made it to the end of this video, please comment the knife emoji down below since I was kind of exposing myself a little bit at the beginning of this video. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!